Finding the queen here are 10,000 bees, and for the next 100 days they will all live in my home. But building a colony is not just about making honey. It is about fighting death, hunger, and enemies. And the fate of them all depends on a single being, the queen. Finding her is not easy, because among tens of thousands of bees she looks ordinary. But in truth, she is the heart of the colony. She lays the eggs. She guides the colony with her scent. She is the only guarantee of their future. If I cannot find her, I will lose them all. But if I do, they will all march after her. And then the moment arrived. The bees weren't just flying. They were marching toward their queen. After an hour of pain and panic, I finally found her, the queen, the leader of the hive. But this was only the beginning, because bringing 10,000 bees into my home was the first move in a deadly game, birth of the colony. I waited for nightfall, because bees cannot fly in the dark. It was the only safe way to move them. I gently placed the queen inside the hive. Her scent should have led the rest to follow. But things did not go as planned. The bees panicked. They swarmed the cameras, the lights, even our heads. I had forgotten to zip up my bee suit. For them, one small mistake could mean disaster. But then, something incredible happened. A group of worker bees spread their wings and began to fan the air. It wasn't just a random movement. They were releasing the queen's scent into the hive. And then a miracle. One by one, then hundreds at a time. The bees began marching toward their queen. By morning, the hive was alive with activity. Now, I had to give them a new home. I turned an old cabinet into a beehive. A tube connected the inside world with the outside. As dawn broke, the first workers flew out, because the queen could not lay eggs without food. Workers flew up to 3 kilometers to collect nectar and pollen, and the queen was ready to lay her very first eggs. Each egg was the foundation of the future. Each egg, a worker or a warrior. Each egg a brick in the empire of the queen. First enemies. But nothing in nature is easy. The queen's eggs were still fresh when the first invader appeared. A small but deadly creature, the hive beetle. Almost invisible to the eye, it began feeding on the eggs. The worker bees immediately went on alert. They attacked, sacrificing their own bodies to protect the brood. But the beetle's armor was too strong. They could not kill it. And as if that wasn't enough, a greater threat emerged on the horizon. A colony of wasps from a nearby nest launched an assault on our hive. They are some of the fiercest warriors in nature. Each one can kill dozens of workers alone. The bees were desperate. Their only hope was to protect the queen. And that is what they did. They formed a living wall around her, a shield of flesh. Thousands would die, but the queen would survive. War and crisis. The colony suffered heavy losses. Yesterday, they were thousands. Today, they were almost gone. The bees even built a graveyard for their fallen sisters. They are among the most intelligent insects in the world. And by honoring their dead, they created space for new life. But the true nightmare was only just beginning. Varroa destructor, the bee's greatest enemy, a microscopic parasite that drinks the bee's blood. It kills larvae, and in days it can wipe out an entire colony. An enemy I could not see, but one I felt everywhere. I had two choices: let nature take its course, or intervene. I reached for a deadly device, an acetic acid vaporizer. Used incorrectly, it could kill me. But it was the only way to save the hive. When the smoke cleared, I saw dozens of dead mites on the ground. The colony could breathe again. Rebirth days passed. The queen's eggs hatched. Larvae emerged. Larvae became pupae. And on the 41st day, the first new worker bee was born. She chewed through her cocoon, emerging into the light, her very first step on land, and with her, hundreds more followed. The colony was growing again. The old generation was dying, but a new one was rising. This was the endless cycle of nature. They were no longer just a colony. They had become an empire. Every corner of the hive was alive with movement. They gathered nectar, fed the young, guarded the queen. And then I realized something. I wasn't just watching them. I was living with them. It was crazy, but somehow it felt natural. Victory and the future. It was time to move them outside. They could not stay in such a small space any longer. They belonged under the sky, in the heart of nature. But before I let them go, I took a piece of honeycomb, and I tasted their honey. Golden, pure, natural honey. The taste was extraordinary, but the true meaning of that honey was something else entirely. It was not just sweet food, it was the product of thousands of bees, their labor, their sacrifice, their very lives. And there was a greater truth. These tiny creatures hold the fate of our planet in their wings. If they do not pollinate the flowers, the fields will not bear fruit. The forests will not grow. Humanity will starve. The story of 10,000 bees is, in truth, the story of us all. If they survive, we survive. The queen is still laying eggs. The workers are still building. The colony is still expanding. And I am still watching in awe. Because the smallest army of nature is one of the greatest miracles of our world.